am a groupie right now, Brian. No.
Really?
For the ladies.
Okay.
In college basketball.
Yeah.
Not just Caitlin Clark, although, she's still like breaking records. She became the first Division I women's player to score at least 1,000 points in multiple seasons. That just happened. She's on the verge of breaking the single regular season most points. Kelsey Plum currently has that in one regular season. She's on her way to do that. Like, she is just a star. That is the easiest, most simplest way to put it. And delivers when it matters the most. So Iowa won today. Nebraska, they defeated Nebraska. Big Ten championship 3 years in a row for Iowa. Caitlin Clark hit the go-ahead three with 51 seconds remaining in OT. She had missed her first 9 3-pointers in the game.
That's breaking news right there.
It's just she has the talent, and you can rely on her, and it's just she's a star constantly. But she's not the only star. I feel like women's basketball is really getting a lot of attention, and it's not just Caitlin Clark. We've also got Juju Watkins, the freshman from USC. Have you watched her play?
Yeah, I have.
It doesn't look like she's a freshman.
It was crazy when she jacked up her ankle twice in the same game, and you're like, she's done. She's limping off. She's not going to be able to go. She came back and was still productive. She's a star. She's amazing.
So, freshman, and it doesn't even look like it. There's something in her game where it's like it comes naturally to some people, and she's one of them. And to know that she's a freshman, so Caitlin Clark leaving to go to the WNBA. Here's Juju Watkins, who I also think it's great that she plays for USC. You know what I mean? Like another school that maybe it's not one of the big schools that you hear about. When you know what I mean? But now they're leaving the Pac-12. That's like that's a whole nother thing.
I know. It's a blast from the past.
It really is.
Because they had their moment in the sun with, Reggie's sister, of course, right?
Right.
When you think about
that. But a while ago.
That's right. Yeah.
And right now USC is playing. I think they're playing right now against Stanford. Is that today? Am I tripping? Or they're going to be playing soon? I think that's today. So yes, right now. Perfect. They're in the third quarter. USC, 5th-ranked USC taking on number 2 Stanford for the Pac-12 tournament final. And right now USC is up. And Juju Watkins. It's just so many things for us to tune in when the men's side. Yeah, we're all going to be watching March Madness, and we're definitely going to be filling out our brackets for the men's side, not the women's side. But you are definitely going to be tuning in to Juju Watkins. You're going to be tuning into Caitlin Clark. You're going to want to see what happens with South Carolina after Brian Fenley tells us that they got in a fight today, and they're going to have 5-6 players available for the first round of March Madness.
Well, here are a couple of things. Let me start off positively.
Start positively.
So the positive thing I have to say is you can see where this is headed, where it's turning into, hey, is women's college hoops more entertaining than men's college hoops? And the first thing I would say is you can like both.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick one or the other. This reminds me of it's starting to move into the realm of where boxing and MMA were, right? When MMA really started to come onto the scene, it was like you either had to be team boxing or you're team MMA. And I always was like, why do you have to pick? You can like both.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be fully, I'm on the women's side, Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins, I'm women's basketball tournament. It's like, indulge in both. It doesn't have to be one solely over the other.
I love that.
But the other thing I have to say is I think women's basketball is a lot like soccer in this country. Meaning this, Monse. A lot of times we'll compare soccer to itself and say, hey, look at soccer's numbers. They're a lot better than what soccer's numbers were earlier or years ago. And it's like, okay, cool. How do they compare to, I don't know, other sports, right? And so I'm not trying to hate on women's basketball. The star power is there. The excitement is there. I'm just saying keep it in perspective if you get all willy-nilly with some of the comments that you're making here, where if you look at Caitlin Clark, the game against Ohio State, huge ratings. Almost 4 million people watch that. And that's awesome. The highest rating since the 90s, like the late 90s. NASCAR outrated that game. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where when you start to think it's surpassed the men's side or things like that, it's like, I don't want to be the guy to push back, but I'm just saying, make sure you get it right. That's all I'm saying is make sure you get it right when it comes to any of the numbers, the ratings, and when you stop and compare women's hoops to other sports, there's still work to be done, even though they're making great strides, and Caitlin Clark's the biggest reason why.
I don't disagree with that. I think the momentum is there, and it's different than other years. Like today, I was working at the Dodgers, my other job, and I happened to I was talking to one of my girlfriends that I worked there, and I was like, "Do you know who Caitlin Clark is?" And she's like, "Oh, that's that girl, right? The basketball star?" And I was like, "Yes." I feel that for so many years, that wasn't the thing where I could just mention a female basketball player from college, and somebody who doesn't follow the sport knows that I'm talking about who I'm talking about. Like, we are really it's in a momentum that it's never been, or maybe it just hasn't been in this momentum in a very long time. And I really do believe social media is a big part of why women's basketball right now is so big, because you can see for your eyes, with your own two eyes, you can see how flashy and what a star Caitlin Clark is and Juju Watkins. You can go see Dawn Staley in South Carolina. You can watch a little quick clip of them and see the stardom. And I don't think that was always there.
Yeah.
No,
I'm with you. And listen, you go back to the days of Diana Taurasi.
Right. It just wasn't there, easily accessible.
Right. Cheryl Miller.
Yep.
You could go on and on with some of the stars of the past, but it's so exciting right now, and it's great for the sport when think of what Caitlin has done this season and who she's been linked to. Mm-hmm. At first it's Kelsey Plum, then it's Pistol Pete Maravich.
Yeah.
She just had the most
Ponytail
threes this
Pistol.
season. Yeah, she surpassed Steph Curry for the most threes this season. So it's amazing. The thing I don't like, Monse, is it feels like this. And you tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. It feels like if you don't have the pom-poms out and you aren't saying things that are solely positive, you're automatically branded a hater.
Yeah, and that's
right.
wrong.
And I don't like that. I don't like that. Where if someone says, hey, women's college hoops is more entertaining than the men's side right now, and I say, is it? Are you going to be watching more women's hoops? Not just Caitlin Clark, not just Juju Watkins. You're going to watch the 12-5 game to see if there's an upset the same way you're watching the men's side? I don't know that you are. But that's taken as, ooh, you're threatened by the ladies. You know what I mean? Oh, you're a hater. Why are you taking shine away? It's not any of those things at all. It's not personal. But you understand how it goes where if you say anything that's slightly critical or not oozing with positivity, you're looked at like, man, you are such a hater. I don't think it should automatically be like that. It depends what you're saying exactly.
I agree with you. You should not be a hater if you are not as big of a groupie, let's say, as some of us have become, because you don't need to be. And I also agree with you. Majority of the people are going to be watching March Madness for the men, like in its entirety. You know what I mean? I'm going to fill out a bracket. It's going to be for the men's, not for the women's. It's you. What you're saying isn't 100% accurate. You cannot be too critical because you're going to be called a hater when you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You should not be.
Right. And listen, if you're saying things that it's just oozing with, haterade comments over, you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, oh gosh, why would anybody waste their time? Now that's being a hater.
That one is, yes.
Who's saying Caitlin Clark's any good? I mean, like, that's a hater comment. There are plenty of hater comments that are legitimate. It's just when things that aren't like that are branded as if they are. I don't like that at all. And I think there are things that you could bring up that are fair, that you say, are you really saying it's surpassed the men's game in entertainment value? The ratings would suggest otherwise, because it's going to be apples to oranges.
It is.
And I hate saying those things. It's just pushing back on an argument that isn't valid. That's all. But I'm not taking anything away from the ladies. There's huge excitement. And if you look at star power, you compare Caitlin Clark to Zach Edey, who's going to win his second Wooden Award in a row. He's been fantastic with Purdue. Caitlin Clark is a much bigger draw. There's no doubt about that. So I don't want to take anything away from the ladies. I'm just saying I'm going to push back on certain comments that are made. That's all.
But I think you really just hit it right on the money, where you said it's like you could be a fan of both.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You can be enjoying both. There is no reason to want to get in an argument as to who is better or why one is better. You can just enjoy both and enjoy that it's happening right now at the same time.
Yeah, Monty, I love boxing. I was checking out Sean O'Malley and Chino Vera last night. It was fun.
Yeah.
Like Dustin Poirier with his knockout and his menacing look, kind of like Anthony Joshua. There's something menacing, Monty, about knocking someone out and they're just kind of standing there.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even just do that.
Yeah, that's when you know they have the dead look behind their eyes.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know why you would hustle backwards.
Yeah.
Right? Why would you limit yourself and be like, oh, I got to be team men's basketball. I can't watch Caitlin Clark. You're negotiating against yourself.
Yeah.
Just enjoy both.
Just enjoy both.